Hi, I'm Gemma, the peer coach, and this video is all about how you can use your mind to help you own the space that you take up in the room. Now, I'm going to start by telling you a little personal story to put this into context. At the beginning of my marketing career, I rose to a senior level relatively quickly, and in one of my early organisations, I was one of the few females in the senior leadership team. And quite often, I would be in a boardroom presenting something that I knew was my area of expertise. I believed in my content, I believed in my delivery, but at the end of a presentation, when I invited questions, very often they'd then go and be directed to my male counterparts. Obviously, this was very frustrating, didn't do a great deal of good for my confidence, but thankfully I knew this stuff back then and I put it into practice. Now, there is a process called myelination, which put simply is when the more you have a thought, the more easy it becomes to have. And this is because of this process where this myelin, almost fatty sheet is developed that enables the thoughts to transmit more quickly backwards and forwards. It's a little bit like if you think of the electrical wires in your house, they have insulation around them to enable things to transmit more easily. So the more you have a thought, the more this process of myelination happens, which makes it easier to have, and it also makes it more believable. You almost take it on board as your own because it's such an easy thought to have. If you spend your time taking on board what you think other people are thinking about you, the more you think of those things, the more that you will almost take them on board as your own thoughts, because myelination will happen and the more easily those thoughts will come to mind. And this is why it's really, really important to be careful of the internal dialogue you have and how much airspace you give in your mind to other people's potential thoughts. So it would have been quite easy for me to sit in those meetings and run through my mind the reasons why people were doing this. It might be, you're not good enough at this because you're too young. You're clearly not experienced enough. You're not cut out for this industry because you're female. You don't deserve to be in this room, otherwise people would be directing questions at you. And so on and so on and so on. And how much time and energy I could have wasted spent thinking through all of these thoughts and the danger of repeating them over and over again every single time it happened and starting to believe them more and more. Being aware of this, I made sure that I gave very little notice to other people's facial expressions, to other people's behaviour in the room. It was about me stepping up, owning my space, taking up physical space and delivering my content and bringing my worth again and again and again. And the more I did that and the more that I didn't pay attention to all of this potential noise and the more I just delivered, the more people started to take notice. Now, there are lots and lots of reasons why people may feel that they don't deserve to own the space in a room. That might be sex, gender, race, sexuality, accent. It might be less physical things, but more psychological blocks. The statistics are actually pretty wild, the number of senior females that do not believe that they deserve the position they're in. I could do a whole other series on imposter syndrome. But the point I'm making here is, it's really important to be careful of the thoughts you have in your mind because they will start to become who you believe you are. So every meeting I went in and said, Gemma, you're the expert in this, you're good enough, you're worthy, you own this space, and you go in and you make an impact and you make the difference that you know you can make. We go all the way to the end of this story, and these people started to listen. They started to realise that this little old me had something to give. And in the end, I was flown to Asia, to Africa, delivering presentations to hundreds and hundreds of people because they listened, because I made them listen. I made them believe in me. But the only way I could make them believe in me is by believing in myself and showing up again and again and again. And that doesn't mean I didn't have bad days. Of course you do. And of course, sometimes your mindset is your worst enemy. But more often than not, give airtime to the thoughts that are going to help you and show up and physically take up that space. You deserve to be there. You owe it to yourself to go in and bring it. And the more time you spend worrying about what anyone else is thinking, the less you are focused and present in the room and bringing that brilliant value. So I share that with you today, not to blow my own trumpet, but to tell you it's possible. To tell you if you're someone sat in a room for any of those reasons or any that I haven't mentioned, and you don't feel that you deserve that seat in the table. Let me tell you, you are there because you earned your place there. And now it's up to you to bring it, to focus on your mind, what's going to help you, and do it again and again and again. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that confidence is a combination of mindset and habits. Let's use both together to help you show up and be the person that you know you can be. I hope that helps. I'd love to hear how you use this. And I hope hearing my experience has inspired you in some way to know that it's possible, to know that you can break down those barriers or that glass ceiling, or whatever metaphor is holding you back. Bring it. Show your worth. You can get there. You can do it. And I want you to tell me when you do. Have a good day being you. I'll speak to you soon.